Osprey Creative Audio presents Command, George S. Patton, written by Stephen J. Zaloga and read for you by Trevor White.
Introduction. Courtney Hodges, Alexander Patch, William Simpson, Ray Porter, Robert Eichelberger. Recognize any of these generals? Probably not, unless you're a particularly well-informed military history reader. These were George S. Patton's contemporaries in World War II, but today their names are almost forgotten. George S. Patton, Jr. is among the most recognized American commanders of all time. Patton began his career in the cavalry and played a celebrated but minor role in the punitive mission against Pancho Villa in Mexico in 1916. During World War I, Patton trained and led the 1st U.S. Army tank battalions, but was wounded in his second battle during the Meuse-Argonne offensive. Patton's legend began to emerge in the run-up to World War II. His dramatic and heroic persona stood in stark contrast to the staid managerial style of most U.S. Army commanders, and he attracted public attention even before Pearl Harbor in 1941. He led the Western Task Force landings in French North Africa in November 1942 as part of Operation Torch, but his most important mission was as a diplomat to coax the Vichy French army into the Allied fold. Patton redeemed the honor of the U.S. Army after the Kasserine Pass debacle in Tunisia in 1943, with its first tactical victory against the Wehrmacht at El Ghoutar in March 1943. When British planners managed to sideline his 7th Army during operations on Sicily in July 1943, Patton's aggressive determination pushed the U.S. units to Palermo, setting the stage for the concluding capture of Messina after Montgomery's advance bogged down. Patton's fortunes ebbed in late 1943 as a result of his rash behavior when he slapped 2 shell-shocked soldiers. Yet Eisenhower knew he needed a bold armor commander for the operations in France, and so shielded Patton from further recriminations. Ike's foresight saved Patton for his most important contributions in the European Theater of Operations, ETO, in 1944 and 1945. Patton was assigned command of the 3rd Army that formed the second wave of American field armies committed to France. The 3rd Army was first deployed in the wake of Operation Cobra in late July 1944, the breakout from Normandy. Although Patton was assigned the secondary role of liberating Brittany, he saw the futility of this mission and argued with Bradley and Eisenhower that there was a fleeting opportunity to exploit German weakness and conduct a bold race to the Seine. Against crumbling German opposition, Patton was at the doorstep of Paris in less than 2 weeks, completely undermining Wehrmacht attempts to reconstitute a defensive line in France after their defeat in Normandy. Advancing toward the traditional gateway into Germany via the Nancy corridor in Lorraine, Patton was frustrated in the autumn of 1944 when a shortage of supplies and inclement weather halted the 3rd Army at the great fortress city of Metz. The 3rd Army was ready to resume the offensive into Germany in mid-December when the Wehrmacht struck in the Ardennes. With his forces already poised for action, Patton promoted a bold plan to strike the Germans in the flank and relieve the trapped garrison in Bastogne. Patton helped reverse the German offensive, and his 3rd Army was the U.S. Army's fire brigade once again, racing to the rescue when the situation seemed hopeless. When given a secondary role again in the February offensives into Germany, Patton captured attention with a bold armored attack that pushed through German defenses in the Saar and Palatinate. While Montgomery prepared an elephantine Rhine crossing further north, Patton's 3rd Army leapt the Rhine on the run near Mainz, relying on speed and shock rather than brute force. The momentum of Patton's 3rd Army was so great that after Eisenhower ordered most U.S. units to halt along the Elbe in late April 1945, Patton was given the mission of continuing into Czechoslovakia and Austria to rout any Nazi last-ditch defenders. Patton's 3rd Army had advanced further, captured more enemy prisoners, and liberated more territory than any other Allied field army in the ETO. After many brushes with death, Patton died in an auto accident in December 1945. Patton, more than any other Allied field army commander, demonstrated the offensive shock power of modern mechanized forces when exercised with a cavalryman's boldness. He was the enfant terrible of the U.S. Army in the ETO, whose accomplishments sometimes were tarnished by his rash and impetuous behavior. Patton's legend was burned into American popular culture with the 1970 release of the award-winning film